A few months ago, Novation launched its brand new Circuit Rhythm, a portable battery-powered, sleek redesign of the original circuit, but focused exclusively on sampling. After having used it for a couple of months now, the question that popped up most in my mind was, who is this thing actually for, and who might it benefit the most? In this video, I'm going to try to answer that question by looking at this device beyond the spec sheet from an everyday user's point of view, and I'm going to try to help you decide if you can live with the limitations. If you're already a subscriber, big welcome back. If this is your first time here, hi, welcome to the midlifesynthesist. Let's get started. Do you need time stretching and/or a wide range of pitch shifting? Pitch shifting and time stretching are, at least for what I consider sample-based music making, essential tools for getting the sample you have to become the sound that you want. The rhythm, just like the Digitakt, does not have time stretching, which isn't the end of the world really. But unlike the Digitakt, the rhythm has a pretty narrow range of pitch shifting, so you won't be able to get very crazy with your samples, at least not with that feature. I will say that even though the range might be narrow, the pitch shifting does sound beautiful and always feels musical and usable. Number 2, do you need polyphony? The Circuit Rhythm gives you 8 tracks to work with, and they are all monophonic. This means that if you want to play chords, you'll need to look somewhere else. Once again, this is a limitation that feels completely fixable by a little firmware tweaking. Just by looking at the competition, I can already see a few possible workarounds. You could have the option to steal voices from another track, like with the Electron Digitone, or you could have the note spill option from the Polybrute tracker, where even though the 8 tracks are monophonic as well, when you play chords, the notes played in unison will spill over into the adjacent tracks, and thus you gain polyphony.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
In both cases, you can sacrifice a few tracks for said polyphony, but just like on the Polybrute tracker, you could easily resample all your chords into a single sample and free up the used tracks. However, if you added that functionality and you made a long enough sequence that you want to resample, you'll probably run into deal breaker number 3. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a second and click that like button, because it gives the algorithm a little tingly feeling in its nether regions. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel, please consider buying your gear using my affiliate links down below, or consider joining the awesome community on my Patreon page. It's a small group still, but the people there are extremely friendly and just really fun to talk to. Big shout out to all my friends at Patreon. Thank you so much for your support and for helping me pick today's thumbnail. Number 3. 32 seconds of maximum sampling time per sample, 222 seconds of sample time per pack. If you're looking to get into sample-based music, you want your sampler to give you the most flexibility possible. That's why for years, the MPC community has been begging Akai for disc streaming. Once again, the good old SP404 shows up in our comparison with insane sample times, limited only by the size of your SD card, which I would like to believe would also be possible on the Rhythm with a firmware update. However, it would be unfair to say that the Circuit is the odd man out here, since even the Digitakt, which to me is one of the best samplers I've ever owned, has a very sparse sampling times, and coincidentally, they both sample in mono. This not only limits you in your sampling, but it also limits the functionality of the Rhythm, as for example, a backing track device, which would have made a lot of sense because it's really small, portable, and battery powered. Number 4. How much of an unquantized feel are you actually looking for? I want to shout out Accurate Beats for his amazing Circuit Rhythm review and for pointing this one out. When I was live recording into the sequencer, I would always get the sense that what I played back was just a little different than what I had played originally. Novation states that you can record unquantized, so I assumed I was just mistaken. However, Accurate, being a scholar, a gentleman, and a much smarter man than I, made justice to his namesake and noticed that actually the rhythm records what you play into one of 6 micro steps, which played at normal speeds doesn't give you exactly enough resolution for the grid to feel truly unquantized. I'll leave a link to his video below if you want to see him explain this in more detail, but just know that even though this is something that beginners that are just learning and getting their tempo down might actually benefit from, I do think it's important for more seasoned beatmakers to have in mind. So knowing all of that, why do I still think that the Circuit is an amazing value for the asking price? Well, for just $399, you get a portable sampler with one of the best user faces out there in the market right now. It weighs about nothing, and the slim body makes it easy to fit into any backpack. The knobs feel sturdy and have a nice weight to them, and the velocity-sensitive pads are an absolute joy to play with. The whole unit feels solid and really well built, and personally, I absolutely love the gray color scheme. It just makes the Rhythm feel like a luxury item. The sequencer is crazy fast and you can make entire beats in minutes on this thing. Also, even though you don't get polyphony, an awesome thing about the Rhythm is that just like with the Electron boxes, you can assign different samples into each step on the same track. So with a little creativity and planning, you can really get away with a whole bunch of sounds on those 8 tracks. Another thing that just can't be overstated is how powerful and fun live performing on the Rhythm is. You can launch different patterns, mute and solo tracks, and apply a ton of effects, much in the same vein as the SP404. And even though it's not as varied or as flexible as the SP404, it's definitely no slouch and you can improvise some very cool stuff on it. So who is the Rhythm for and what scenarios do I think it'll really shine in? Number 1, as a first-time sampler. One thing that I've heard a lot in the Circuit Rhythm videos that I've been watching, and something that I can absolutely certify, is just how fun and fast the circuit workflow is. You don't get bogged down with value numbers, you don't have a million effects to choose from. It's simple, it's easy, and it's just plain fun. And if you're looking for your first dive into the sampling world without breaking the bank, this is right up your alley. Number 2, as a dedicated drum machine. No matter what your level of experience is, if you want a sample-based rhythm machine with a flexible sequencer and you already have something else giving you melodies and polyphony, the Circuit Rhythm is a great addition to a multi-device setup. It has a small footprint and it has a huge sound, and it should bring smiles both to newcomers and more seasoned musicians alike. Number 3, a portable sketchpad. The size, weight, and battery of the Rhythm make it a very practical device to take with you on your travels, on vacation, or even on your day-to-day commute. I'm a sucker for portable synths and samplers, and the Rhythm is easily among my 5 top portable music making devices. And finally, one of the things that I've been using the Rhythm for a lot lately is just for accompaniment when practicing and improvising on other instruments. Since it's so easy and fast to set up a sequence on the Rhythm, I just found a great use for it, making tiny tracks that I can jam along to, either when I'm playing on a synth, a piano, guitar, or a bass. So instead of a metronome or someone else's backing track, I can practice my improvisation on a little track of my own doing right then and there. Also, it doesn't hurt that this thing doesn't even need like a rack or a stand for it. You just put it on your lap and away you go. The Circuit Rhythm probably isn't the greatest sampler ever made, nor does it aspire to be the be-all, end-all of sample-based music, but it does hold a special place in today's market as an affordable, inspiring, and ridiculously fun music box for those who can accept its limitations. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful, or at least entertaining. Have a great week. I'll see you in the next one.